Perek Aleph, Mishnah Zayin. Following on from Mishnah Vav, where we had the Eidus of Reb Chanina Skana Kehanim and Reb Akiva, that in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, they never refrained from burning truma, which was a shlishila tumah, with other things which were tomei to a higher degree, and which made the truma into either a sheni or into a rishon. We now follow on with Mishnah Zayin, where we try and compare this to burning chometz on Erev Pesach, which is also in a state of tahara to make it tomei. Omer Reb Meir says, Midivreim lomadnu, from their words we learn, from the words of Reb Chanina Skana Kehanim and the words of Reb Akiva, we see from there, shesoyfin truma tahara im hatemeya bepesach. And this is the answer to the shaila we originally started off with. He says, we see from their words that we are allowed to burn chometz, which is truma and which is tahoi, with other chometz, which is tomei on Erev Pesach, even though it means we are going to be matama this truma which is currently tahoi. Amar Rabbi Yossi, says Rabbi Yossi, Eino hi hamida. You can't compare the two cases. Literally, Eino hi hamida means this is not the measure. You can't compare the case of Reb Chanina Skana Kehanim and Rabbi Akiva, where we're talking about basar kodshim or truma, which was already tomei to at least some degree, at least it was a shlishida tumah, and you burnt it with other things which are also tomei, which therefore meant that the status and the level of tumah was going to be increased. You can't compare that case to our case of chometz, where you're talking about truma which is completely tahoi and is not tomei at all, and now you're going to be matamed. Omoidim Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua, and Rabbi Yossi continues and says that Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua agree, because they disagree later on in the Mishnah about something. But on this aspect they do agree, concerning chometz, which is truma and which is tahai, burning it with other chometz, which is tomei, shesoyfen zula atzma v'zula atzma. That you have to burn the two things separately. You cannot burn together chometz, which is truma and tahai, together with chometz, which is tomei. Alma nechleku. On what do they argue? On what do Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua argue? Al hateluya v'al hatemeya. On chometz, which is truma, which is in the status of teluya. It's a suspended status. That means that this is truma about which there is a suffix that perhaps it's tomei, therefore it cannot be eaten, but it also cannot be destroyed because perhaps it's tahoi. On such truma, which is a sort of a halfway house between being tomei and being tahoi, about burning that together with chometz, which is completely tomei, Rabbi Eliezer says, Tisorif zula atzma v'zula atzma. Even in such a case, you cannot burn the two together. You have to burn each one separately. You have to burn the chometz, which is definitely tomei on its own, and the chometz, which is in a status of being teluya, which is a suspicion, perhaps it's a suffix, maybe it's tomei, or maybe it's not, has to be burnt separately as well. Even in such a case, where you can't eat it, we are still enjoined by the Torah not to be matama it. Rabbi Yeshua says, Shteihem ka'achas. In such a case, you can burn everything together. Why? Because when the Torah told you that you're not allowed to be matama truma, which is tahoi, that was for the purpose that perhaps I can eat this truma. Since in this case I can't eat it anyway, because it's in a state of teluya, it's a suffix tomei, therefore from now on, there is no more any issa in being matama, this truma, which is in a status of being teluya. For Ad Kan, Mishnah Zayin.